Welcome back to the week of quantum alignment. We're on to the final day, day number 7. This lesson is going to be very, very simple, but it's what's going to tie everything together, and it's what's going to allow you to actually start getting these results consistently. And we're just going to jump right into it. Again, if you have not watched the previous 6 days, I recommend doing that first. These work in order, sequentially, the best. If you have gone through those, carry on. Here we go into day number 7, what this idea is. Now, this idea is called stay the course, become the house, not the gambler. You know, when it comes to casinos or what's called the house, like when you're playing a game like blackjack or something like that, they always have a slightly better percentage chance of winning overall than the gambler, the person who is doing the gambling. And even if it's a 51% to 49% chance, the house will always win out in the end, so long as all the rules and everything are being adhered to. Because percentage-wise, obviously 51% is going to win out more times than 49, especially over time. And so this idea is to become the house and not the gambler. To live your life like you've been previously living it would be being the gambler. You know, a lot of people, they'll learn these ideas, but then they'll continue living their lives in the Newtonian way. And what I mean is they'll give more credence and more priority to the physical world around them than to aligning to the quantum world. But when you align to the quantum world, the world that holds the Newtonian world within it, right? Remember that the bigger container here, which really is limitless, is the quantum world. The Newtonian world exists within the quantum. And you can play just the Newtonian game if you want, but you're being the gambler. If you ever heard of the concept of Newtonian billiard balls, this is the idea behind Newtonian physics. That you're just kind of being moved around and hit around. You got to wait till another ball hits you into the right pocket or whatever else. And it's why so many people are waiting for things to happen to them. They're waiting for themselves to get hits into the pocket they want to be in, and this rarely ever happens. And that's being the gambler. You're gambling your life on hopefully someone else will make it happen for you. Or hopefully this situation will come into alignment and things will work out. But when you know that there are these universal principles at a much larger and broader scale happening that are actually in control and are actually how nature works and the universe works, and you adhere to them, you become the house and not the gambler. And if you consistently do these things we went over in this series, every single day to the best of your ability, you make it way more likely. You play the odds up in your favor that good things will come into your life. Now, the great thing is too, it's not a 51% to 49% like it is in casinos for a lot of the time when you're playing like maybe a game like blackjack. The house is a 51% advantage because if you tie, they win, right? But in this case, it can be much higher. The more you do these things, the more you move the odds in your favor of amazing things coming into your life, the longer you stay in alignment. And so stay the course, become the house, not the gambler. Always remember this. This is a great thing to remember when you feel like you're veering off course. When you're veering off course, it's because you have old patterns and behaviors coming up because you were most likely conditioned under Newtonian principles. I know I grew up in the West. I was taught that the Newtonian way is the only way. I didn't know about any of this stuff that I know now. I didn't know about people who were working with energy and the quantum physics and everything like that. I wasn't aware of those things. But now that I know that that is a much more accurate and better model of how things work, it would be silly of me to be a gambler and keep my faith in the thing just because I learned that first or I've been believing that for a longer period of time. But a great thing to do is whenever those beliefs start rearing their ugly head again and try and take hold of your life, getting you to put all of your emphasis on the physical and play the Newtonian billiard ball game, you remember this idea of staying the course. Now, one thing I want to mention, because I said I would mention this, I believe in the last video, is how quickly, how much time needs to pass of you sticking with these things before you start seeing actual physical results, before you start seeing results in the Newtonian realm. Because again, quantum to Newtonian. Now, in the quantum realm, things happen instantaneously, and the only thing it really cares about is the moment. It cares about what you are doing in the moment. However, the Newtonian realm, made up of all these things that are physical, I mean, it's really vibrating, but it's a physical thing. I can touch it, I can do this, I can move it around, I have my 5 senses. It takes a while for something to manifest into this kind of energy. It takes a lot of what's called particle flow, a lot of energy to create matter. Remember, this bottle is vibrating. There are molecules that are vibrating that make up this bottle. It's not actually solid. If those molecules were to vibrate slower and slower and slower, it would melt in my hand and fall away. But because it's vibrating at a pretty quick pace, I can't put my hand through it. It feels physical, it feels solid, but that's what's actually going on. And for that to come from the quantum into the physical takes about 6 to 8 weeks of focused particle flow before you start seeing results in the Newtonian world. So about 6 to 8 weeks of you investing in the quantum reality, of understanding that this is the base reality. This is where everything comes out of. This is where consciousness, energy, vibrations exist, and everything comes from this place. Once you understand that this is the game you're now playing, and you understand it takes 6 to 8 weeks, usually for results to start coming in, stay the course, be the house, not the gambler. And when you know that this is true, every single time you're starting to get into a little gambling mood because an old pattern comes up, you can remind yourself, I just need to stick with this. Stay the course. Stay in my knowingness. The universe works consistently, right? You may have changed things within the quantum, but they need to stay that way for a little bit of time in enough moments to manifest in the physical, for the universe to bring you the people, the circumstances, the opportunities. And magical things can happen in as little as 6 to 8 weeks if you do this very deliberately, very consciously, very intentionally. I'm telling you right now, if you stick to these things to the best of your ability for the next 6 to 8 weeks, you can't help but notice results. And it works every single time for every single person. The only way this doesn't work is if you maybe for 1 week do it, then the second week don't, then 1 week. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They go back and forth, and that's okay. The better at this you get, the less that will happen. You will essentially remove the lag time, and it will get smaller and smaller and smaller. That's why I've noticed in my own life, when I started applying these principles, law of attraction, law of vibration, these universal laws in my life, you know, sometimes there would be a day where I got it really good, and I was living in that way. And then the rest of the week I wouldn't. And then there would be another day a few weeks later where I got it and I felt it. But I let my old patterns won out again. And then eventually it would be like one whole week or a few days where I'm just like in the pocket. But then the next week I wouldn't be. And until it became to the point where now I rarely have a day where I'm not doing these things at some level. You know, I'm at the point where maybe a few hours I might not, maybe just an hour, and I'm able to reorient myself right back into being the house and not the gambler. And so throughout your day, do these things that put you back in a place where you're in that quantum alignment. You have all the tools now, you have all the ideas. And now it is just repetition, 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 and applying these ideas over and over again. Something I recommend you do is to go through these videos multiple times to really absorb the information. If you watch my video on how to develop any skill, you'll know there are 4 stages of learning. This is called unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and unconscious competence. And what that means is, and the way you move up that scale, I should say, into the unconscious competence stage, which means you're basically, you know the stuff without even having to think about it. You're acting upon it now without having to think about it. It's in your subconscious, it's in your unconscious, it's reflexive at this point. You do that through repetition, application, adjustment, repetition, application, over and over and over again. And so just listening to these videos once and applying these things once is not going to overcome the old programming you have. But by doing your best each and every day, by going back to these videos when you're maybe a little confused on something, or you didn't quite catch something, or there's something you need to just go deeper with, is going to be incredibly valuable. And it's what I recommend you do to stay the course. But if you stay the course with all of these things, you do it repetitively, you make it the new process for you. You will be in quantum alignment more often. Again, you might come out, but you just bring yourself right back, reorient. You know, it's like they say, if your ship goes 1 degree off course, if you keep allowing it to go 1 degree off course over and over again, you'll eventually end up on a completely different island. But if it goes 1 degree or 2 degrees off, you're like, oh, let me correct that. Reorientation. Oh, I went a little degree off, had a day where I was out of alignment. Reorient, right back, right? Oh, went 1 degree off. And this is how it works for most people. Most people aren't here and then go like that within a day, right? It's usually, and then they're moving completely away from their target. It takes a little bit of time, right? Like it's one day you miss, you beat yourself up, don't get back on track, don't reorient, and then A week, a month, a year goes by, and you've completely moved in a different direction. But if you continue to stay the course and reorient yourself back to the direction you want to go whenever you start to move off course, and again, the lag time starts to get smaller and smaller, where if I start going a little bit off now, it's usually I notice it within the day. I'm like, okay, I need to get into my heart. I need to align to these universal principles again. Boom, reorientation. And when you do that, you reorient, put yourself back on track again. That's you realigning. That's you in the moment, being in quantum alignment. Ultimately, guys, every single one of you, no matter what level you're doing this at the moment, can experience quantum alignment right now. It's not that you can't align at this very moment. It's about how long you stay there. And again, over time, you will be able to stay there more and more. You might waver a little bit, but you come back, and you're back, and you're back. And this will become your homeostasis. This will become your default. This will become the reflex for you to be in alignment. You know, for myself, I still have times where I'm out, but it's gotten shorter and shorter and easier to continually get back into that alignment. And the more you are there, the more you're in that alignment, the more the magic in your life happens. So guys, I really hope you have enjoyed this week of quantum alignment. Now, we've just covered the surface level stuff in this. I will, through other avenues, probably teach this on deeper levels, but this is really giving you the essentials and the basics to get started with this, to start feeling and experiencing this. Everything is in this series that you need, and I think it might even be under an hour, all videos together, maybe a little over an hour, I'm not sure, but everything is here for you to be able to experience quantum alignment. And as long as you just do your best, you give it your all, you put your faith in it, and it resonates with you and you go for it, it will work, and you will start to see some results from this. And again, you might go right back here and just got to realign, and you just get better, and eventually it gets to the point where even when you're out of alignment, it's not so hard for you to get back into it. Guys, this is an amazing way to live. For me, this is the natural way to live, the way we were meant to live, and we were just conditioned into living in a way that's actually more suffering, struggle, and swimming upstream and holding on to rocks instead of going with the river of life, with the full power of the river at our back. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This has been a fun little series to create this whole week of quantum alignment. I hope you've enjoyed it. This stuff can be so powerful in your life. It can lead to such incredible implications and results and outcomes for you. And I really hope you'll use it. But again, you can lead the horse to water. You can't make him drink. You can open the door, but I can't make you walk through. Who knows? Maybe this is the universe coming through me to open the door for you to apply this stuff. But if you want it to actually work, walk through the door, do the stuff, stick with it, stay the course. Like that was today's lesson. Don't be the gambler, be the house, stay the course. Remember the quantum to Newtonian transition point, about 6 to 8 weeks. Remember, you are loved. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the next video.